Phi TV is sponsored by Florida Internet and Television. Its member companies connect over 95% of Florida thanks to their $10 billion investment over the past decade into Florida's broadband infrastructure. Miami. Known for its beautiful beaches, thriving nightlife, tasty cuisine, and diverse cultures. In this edition of Phi TV, we travel to Miami, Florida, which was officially trademarked as the Gateway to the Americas by the Florida Department of State in 2004. It's a global, cosmopolitan city and a landmark for those coming into our great country. However, outside of the tourist-friendly South Beach or the hustle and bustle of downtown Miami lies an eclectic and diverse mix of friendly neighborhoods that share bonds of country, heritage, and community. It's also where we find the future Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives, Danny Perez, who represents House District 116. As the future Speaker of this august body, Speaker Perez is going to have to lead a House of 119 of his peers that span Florida from the Keys all the way to the Panhandle. Path to being Speaker of the House comes with the support and trust of your classmates. Speaker Perez was elected in the 2019 class to become the Speaker of the House. So, as we search for Speaker Danny Perez, we're going to go through a few of the best cafecitas in Miami. We're going to join him on a journey taking us from his childhood that shaped his path to the career that determined his future. As he begins the second half of his sophomore term, we get a chance to meet Speaker Perez, where he spent most of his formative years at none other than Christopher Columbus High School. To learn more about the future Speaker and the man behind the podium of the Florida House. Danny Perez, on your way to be Speaker. Here we are at Columbus, your high school. We're kicking it off. So I think what our goal for this is, I want everyone to know kind of the guy that I've gotten to know over the last few years, kind of the man behind the future office that you're ascending to. So if you're good, man, I'm just going to roll with some questions about your family.
I'm in, man. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right, so tell me, brothers, sisters, what do you got?
So I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
I got a sister.
Okay, what's her name?
Ashley. She's out in Houston.
Okay.
Ashley graduated from school. She got a job out there and she just didn't come back.
Good, right.
But we miss her.
Yeah, we of course.
And then my youngest brother, Brian, he's autistic, so he lives with my parents.
Okay. Awesome.
So he didn't have the opportunity to come to Columbus like I did.
Right.
What a cool opportunity.
Well, let's talk about Columbus for a second.
So cool.
Everybody knows Columbus is better than Belen, right?
Obviously. Fans a given.
I've just lost half of the entire Miami audience, but I'm sure I'll balance that out later with somebody else.
It's all right.
This school is amazing. It's a path forward in relationships, key relationships in Miami. It's known as one of those brotherhoods here in town. Tell us a little bit about your experience here at Columbus.
I think it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like, this is where you become a boy and then you become a man.
Right.
This is that transition.
Right.
This is the best high school in the entire country. Let's get this out of the way.
Of course.
Fifth best sports program in the entire country. We're talking about the entire country.
Right.
More national merit scholars than anyone else in Miami-Dade County. So, I mean, this is just a school where you can excel in academics and sports. Am I done pitching? Did I pitch it enough?
Well, let me ask you a question. How did you get in?
Yeah, well, standards were a lot lower back then. Yeah, a lot lower standards. They needed some ginger beard for diversity, and so they let me in.
They're like, he's sort of a red,
Yeah.
diversity. All right. So before we get to the high school and kind of the teachers that formed your life, let's go back to your mom and dad. When we think about the Perez household, what were the lessons that Dad instilled in you and your brother and sister? Like, what are your memories as a child? Like, what's that one lesson your dad wanted you to learn?
Brad, that's a great question. I would say probably a couple things. I mean, one would be hardworking. I mean, I don't think there is a more hardworking family than my parents. I mean, they went all in all the damn time.
Yeah.
Two would be optimism. Growing up in a house where you have someone with unique abilities like my brother, you never really have a bad day.
Right.
Like you understand what real problems are in your life. The car breaking down ain't the biggest problem in the world. It just isn't.
Right.
So it puts things into perspective for you. So our optimism level is like extremely high.
I love it.
And Brad, it's actually kind of cool.
It's kind of endemic of who you are as well, and what we get to see in your
I appreciate it.
Side,
I agree, man. Sometimes people are like, hey, the world is falling, Danny. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, we're good. I'm like, we're so good right now. We're the best we've ever been.
Right.
So I would tell you optimism is number two, and three would have to be just relationships and family. I mean, I treasure relationships so much.
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful for them. It's what makes your life worth it, man. The people you meet along the way. But I get that from my parents for sure.
So let's talk about your mom a little bit. So Usually the dad, kind of instills, get tough for the world, and the mom instills the sensitive side. Was it that way, or what was your mom like?
See, they're like hybrids, man.
Right.
They're like hybrids. So like I think when I was younger, I think my mother was more the disciplinarian. And then I think when I got older, I think I might transition a little to my father.
Right.
But my father's a social butterfly.
Yeah,
my father, I think that's where I get my personality from.
I love it.
Yeah. So he's the guy that's working the room.
Okay.
My mother is a little bit more reserved. But very, on point.
Right.
Like, my mother doesn't miss a beat. And I think she is literally the greatest human being ever created.
I love it.
Mother Teresa, I think, is next to my mother.
I love it. Okay, what's your mom and dad's name?
So my dad's name is Eugene, and my mom's name is Gelsies. Messed up name. I tell my mom all the time. I said, Mom, how did they come up with this name?
But now is where you say, I love you, Mom and Dad.
I love you, Mom and Dad, right? Yeah. Just I got to bring it back in.
All right. So we move out of the household. You start going to school. You get to Columbus. Talk to me about your favorite teacher. How did that teacher or those teachers, and you got to call them out, teach you some lessons that kind of sort of drove you to where you are today?
Yeah. Well, Columbus, it truly is a brotherhood. Many of the teachers that are here still today came to school here. So, you'll see teachers that have been here for 30, 40 years, and they graduated from the school. So they understand what it is to be a Columbus guy. Right. I would tell you, Mr. Rene Rodriguez is he's a good man. Also, he's a constituent, right?
Hey.
Let's throw that out there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But he was
one more secured
there.
vote.
There it is. But he was a teacher here, but he was also my volleyball coach. I played basketball and volleyball here, and you know why I like him, Brad? Because he knew how to let me be me and let me go, but knew how to rein me back in just enough and discipline me when he had to.
Right.
So he was stern when necessary, but let me be me, and I always appreciated that.
So they talk about all boys, high schools, and most of my friends that went to these, they were like, hey, it was very peaceful. What's your take? There were no girls running around the hallways and things like that. How did you, did it distract you? Did it make you focus more?
Look, there are no girls here, but I think Columbus guys do fairly well in the social department.
That's not what I was asking. I was more thinking about your time on campus. But
I'm gonna tell. We gotta throw it out there. This whole no girls thing here, it's super cool. Think of it this way: pick the best friends you've ever had in your life, and you get to hang out with them all day while doing something that is necessary and getting an education.
Of course.
It's super cool. The experience of coming here, the stories here. I was walking down this hallway, and I was telling Tanner, I said, hey, right there is where I used to hang out with my buddies after lunch.
Yeah.
And we should just kick it after lunch for 10, 20 minutes before we have to go back into the classroom. So unique experience, totally worth it.
That's cool. All right, so I had the good pleasure of meeting the Dean of Discipline who knew you on a first name basis. It was amazing. Maybe we'll talk about that in another
Mr. McKeon's a good man. Also another constituent.
Yeah. So let's talk about sports, right? Basketball, volleyball. Any life lessons that you learned there? They're both team sports. I'm assuming outside hitter, right, for volleyball?
For volleyball. And here's the best part. Never the best player, but a necessary one nonetheless. Right. Rodriguez, I think he nailed it. I'll never forget my last year. Everyone's getting super cool awards. I think I got the coolest award. Unsung hero. So cool. And he's just like totally necessary guy.
Person I see. I love
Super. But no, I think I'm a big fan of the team sports. And this school, I think what it does is it teaches you the best of both worlds. It teaches you the academics from a book's perspective, but it teaches you the real world.
Right.
And I'm so concerned that sometimes we don't get the real world experience. Right. Here's where I sold sandwiches because I wanted to buy rims for my car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The dean of discipline wasn't happy. I got in trouble for it, but it was worth it at the time. Man, I learned how to barter and sell sandwiches for $2 when I was buying them for 50 cents.
It's called the free market, baby.
Free market, man. Capitalism. It's beautiful.
It's awesome. All right, so as we think about this, I think your thoughts on Columbus. How did it prepare you for the next stage, college and law school? How did this place get you ready for that?
I think at Columbus you have people from all walks of life. You have white, African American, Hispanic, Asians, Jewish, Christian, Catholic, Muslim. You have everything here, and it's a Catholic school, which is so ironic but so cool at the same time. But it teaches you how everyone is unique and different in their own way, but you can always find some sort of common ground with people. And I think that kind of helped me, not just in my next step when I went to college, but even where I stand today, Brad. It kind of, I always have an open door policy for that same reason. I got to hear everyone out, man. And I learned that here when I was running for class president, obviously.
I love it.
successfully.
So politics were in your blood even here.
Successfully, yeah. It was. It was. So Columbus had a lot.
Well, listen, we got a lot more to talk about,
Yeah.
but I need some coffee. I hear there's this thing called Cuban coffee we got to try while we're down here. Where are we going?
My man. All right. We're going to go to La Carreta.
Okay.
All right? We can't say La Carreta. No, we're in District 116.
That's what Brad would say, but...
That's why I'm helping you out. We're going to go to La Carreta, the Valls family, great family. They own it, so we're going to go there. We're going to have some Cuban coffee, and I want you to meet my people.
Off to our first taste of Miami. Danny takes us to his favorite spot where I learned more than I ever could have expected, La Carreta, a staple of the community owned by the Valls family, who also own Valencia's. Both of these restaurants are must-stops for Democrat and Republican candidates alike for president for the last 40 years. This place is rich with conversation on local affairs, culture, and Cuban-American politics. From the moment we walked in, we are greeted by the Round Table, a group of guys who have been coming here so long that they have a plaque dedicated to their seat at the table. After sampling some of the amazing Cuban food at this restaurant, Danny and I sit down to learn about the impacts this community has had on him.
Danny, you take me to La Carreta.
La Carreta.
La Carreta.
You're in.
It's todo bien. It's amazing.
There you go.
This place is iconic. We know. Okay, so let's get down on this food.
All right.
What'd you get for us here?
I got you a little bit of everything, man.
Okay.
But I got you some empanadas.
Okay.
This is just amazing.
All right.
You got some meat inside. Let me know what you think. But save some room.
Okay.
Right here.
Oh my God.
This is a croqueta. This is,
All right.
insane.
All
Good
right.
stuff. Maybe we put a little lemon sometimes. Sometimes people eat it with crackers.
Okay. All right.
But this is good stuff, man. You know?
All right. So I can feel myself getting a little fatter.
Yeah.
Let's just drink some of this Cuban coffee.
I can't give you too much, man.
Okay.
Because here's the problem.
I drink a lot of it.
Yeah, but you're not from Miami.
Okay. All right.
Only the Miami people can have the whole cup.
Okay. All right.
So I'm gonna take it easy with you, all right?
All right. I appreciate that. Go easy on the new guy.
So if you notice at the top, it has a little bit of foam. We call it espumita.
¿Es comida?
It's like a little foam that we make with the coffee and the sugar, and you whip it up.
Yep.
And when you whip it up, that's what comes at the top. It's like the sweet part of the coffee.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna toast. The La Carreta.
There you go, my man.
Cheers.
Hey, thanks for coming to Miami.
Hey, man. It's great to be here.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, look, we can get down on a lot of conversation, but I hear there's some guys inside we need to go talk to.
So inside, there's a table of about 10 guys, and they're called La Mesa Redonda, which means the round table.
Right.
And these are like the godfathers of my community.
I love
so
it.
I want you to go inside.
Let's go
I
meet
want
them.
you to meet them.
Okay.
And then let's sit down and chat.
All right. I love it. We're bringing this food, though.
Let's do it.
We're not leaving it.
All right, so you're at Florida State. Obviously, you're in the capital of Florida. There had to be a few moments where you kind of like looked over the keg, looked over the homecoming king runner-up, and you looked up the hill and you looked at the Capitol and said, maybe that's going to be for me, or no? Did it cross your mind?
Maybe. So I got a sweet little internship in the Capitol to answer phones because we were going through the middle of the Marlins Park dilemma here in Miami, and they needed someone that spoke some Spanish in the Capitol, so I got in there.
There's a few in there, but one more is always more helpful.
Yeah,
right?
they definitely need some help.
Okay.
But honestly, it was never really in my plan. I'm going to be very honest.
Right.
I enjoyed service, but I never knew how I would give back or when I would give back.
Right.
That was kind of let God,
Right.
script its course the way He wants to, and whenever it happens, it happens.
It's always amazing. His plan's always better, right? I
is.
got that. All right, so you leave Florida State. Did you go straight to law school?
I went straight to law school.
Okay.
I went to Loyola in New Orleans. I actually wanted to come back home.
Right.
And my father had said, you're not ready to come back home yet. I think you still need to go out there, meet more people.
And you were thinking UM,
I was thinking, actually, I want to go to FIU. FIU, which is in District 116. FIU because it was a state school, so tuition was cheaper.
Right.
And, student debt in today's world is insane.
Right.
So I said, I wanted to come back home, and I got into FIU, but instead I went to Loyola. I got a scholarship there, and Brad, when I got there, I didn't know a soul.
Right.
A little bit of a different culture than Miami.
Sure.
Best decision ever.
Yeah.
Just good people, man. Louisiana just has wholesome people.
Yeah. So tell me, everyone has heard of Loyola Law School. And the network is amazing. I mean, when you were there, were you already kind of in networking mode for what's coming next?
I was, but not on purpose.
Okay.
So I got there and didn't know anyone. Got to meet everyone, and law school's 3 years. After my second year, the law school voted me to be their law school president.
Wait. So you've been student body president twice now, right?
Right.
Okay, all right.
The law school one was cool, man. I got to meet so many interesting people in New Orleans. Great food. And I started to expand my network. Some of those guys and girls that I met back then are still my best friends today. And we were able to do the study abroad trips and all that good stuff. So I'm actually going back to New Orleans in October for Jazz Fest, which is
It's a thing, right?
super cool thing.
Huge festival,
Yep.
right?
So I was in New Orleans for 3 years, and then I came
So
back
a
home.
little piece of New Orleans never left you. It'll be part of you forever, basically.
100%. To the point that when my wife and I were looking for a house, I said, find whatever it is. I don't care. I have one request. She goes, all right, what is it? I said, it has to have a front porch.
Right.
Because that's
you
just-
got to see the neighbors.
You got to see the neighbors. That's New Orleans, man. People are outside.
All right, so let's get into it. So how'd you meet your wife? Talk to us about the family.
Yeah. So when I moved back here, friends set us up. We were both third wheels.
Right.
Not a mistake. We went to a birthday party, and we were set up there. And 2 years later, we were married. I think it was one of those instances that when you just you know. And I'm a blessed man, and she's given me the greatest blessing ever, which are two children.
Now, when I met you, she was pregnant with your first
Right,
daughter,
right.
right? And tell, what are your kids' names?
So my oldest daughter is 2.5. Her name is Camila.
Yeah.
Camila is funny, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about she's a trip.
like stakes after her dad.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally.
Of course. Right.
But she's smart as a whip, but so loving. She has such a big heart, and it's actually great to see. And then my youngest is Matias, and Matias is 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And he's such a boy. He's a boy's boy.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that goes face first off the sofa, and you're like, dude, why would you do that? And he gets up
he's a boy.
laughing.
Right.
He's a boy. But just so loving. When you walk into the house, he runs and gives you the biggest hug and makes everything worth it.
I love it. Well, look, we want to hear about more, but you've got some friends that own an incredible meat shop, meat store. We're going to get some meat.
I want you to see this for yourself.
Right.
It is the best steaks that you can buy anywhere in the state of Florida. Josh's Premium Meats. I want you to go there. You happen to be my best friend. Cool guy. Let's head that way.
Can we eat a little more of this before we go?
If you can eat all this, you're gonna have the biggest stomach ache ever, man.
I'm just gonna take a quick bite. All right.
Hit it.
All right. Let's go. Full up on cafecita, amazing food, and Cuban-American political discussions, Danny and I head over to Josh's Premium Meats, owned by Josh Pasquale. It's a hidden gem nestled in the warehouse district of Miami. What started as a home-based business with a line wrapping around their home has quickly evolved into a fully functioning business that is moving to its own warehouse. We take a step inside to visit some of the people who helped shape Speaker Perez's upbringing, and we take a behind-the-scenes peek at what makes these meats from around the world so famous. And frankly, we get to hear from Danny talk about small businesses and Florida's business-friendly markets. All right, okay, so we're at Josh's Premium Meats. Why?
This is it, man. But more important than just a meat place, these are my brothers, man. I want you to meet them. This is Josh Pasquale, and this is Adrian Fernandez.
Nice to meet you, Adrian. Thanks.
These are good guys, man.
Okay.
Best meat store ever.
Okay, all right. So we've talked about your upbringing. We talked about Columbus. Obviously, we had fun there. You've known these guys since then. We went to La Carreta. But we talked about family and law school and your kids. And now we're going to start talking about you getting into politics. But why are we here? Tell us the story of JPM.
So Josh's Premium Meats is such a homegrown story. It's a small business story to its core, which is what I as an individual stand for when I run for office, helping small businesses and making sure that they can prosper. And Josh's story is such a unique story. And actually, I want to hear it from Josh. Josh, tell Brad a little bit about how you got into this, man, how you created this empire of selling meat.
So this is an amazing story because it takes more than one person. It takes a village.
Right.
And the support of my family, my brothers, this started actually in my home. Yes, a butcher shop started at my house. And then it was crazy. We were sourcing some of the best products, some of the best steaks this world has to offer. And we were doing it out of my house. It was kind of crazy.
Right.
Those lines,
Your house was immediately the most popular house on the block.
People were like, what is going on? And then we were selling to law enforcement. I mean, it got crazy. But good thing is we were able to...
Wait, let's stop there before you go. So I've heard there have been cops at your house.
Yes,
right?
They were buying. They were customers too.
Okay, all right.
You know, the
They weren't
neighbors
there
were
to
like,
arrest
oh my
you.
God, what's going on? No, but it was amazing, honestly. And we're blessed to be able to finally have our own butcher shop out of the house and see it grow. It's family run, so I get to see if you come visit us, you'll meet my mom, my best friend, my 3 cousins, my uncle. It is a complete show of family and support. So I would love to welcome anyone that wants to come visit us, and we'll show you all our amazing.
Brad, check this out, man. So Josh and I live fairly close to each other, right? Residential homes, right? We're close to each other. On Fridays, I'd come home from a long day at work, and I get traffic to get into our neighborhood, one way in, one way out. Think of McDonald's on its most busiest day drive-through. That was the neighborhood because of Josh's Premium Meats. I'm talking about a line of 20, 30 cars. You couldn't even come in.
Right.
All because of this guy. People just wanted to buy Josh's Premium Meats. It was honestly such a cool thing to see.
I mean, that's a success story.
Fun.
And obviously Florida's got incredible pro-business laws. So are you finding it good to go from the garage to this storefront? And now you're opening up a bigger storefront.
I kind of miss the house sometimes. No, we're actually, this has been an amazing store for us, but we are moving to a new store, a larger store in South Miami that we're very excited to move into very soon.
Well, look, we love eating food on Fi TV, so I'm probably gonna have to leave here with a few steaks. So we'll need your recommendations later, but we're gonna let you guys get back to work. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for visiting us.
All right, appreciate it.
Guys.
All right, big guy. So now you get done, you get married, you have the kids, you're working at Florida's largest law firm.
Yep.
All right, so you're like a big deal now, and then you decide
I don't know about a big deal.
to run for office. What made you want to do that?
So timing wasn't right. I think I was a little, I was young. I was 29 years old, but I had an opportunity to represent my community. It's where I grew up. It's where I went to high school when you guys saw it, Columbus. Right. It's where I live. It's where I work. And so that opportunity presented itself, and I took the risk. I think there's no greater opportunity or honor than represent the people that you grew up next to. These are my neighbors, man. So I took that stab, and we hit the ground running on the campaign with Josh. And
you said these were your only supporters at first, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No one really wanted to support
because you guys knew better, right?
We, for us, it was amazing. He's one of us. He's running, we're all running. Yeah. So, he's got to put in the time, walking the pavement. We're all walking with him. I remember we were sunburned. We had the worst sunburns just because we'd be walking from 11 to 3 every single day. Whatever it took for him to win, we were going to do it.
It was a cool experience, man. My buddies took off a day of work. Each of them took a PTO day for 90 days so that they can drive me each day of the week. And it is as homegrown and grassroots as you can get, which makes this opportunity just that much more worth it. That's why I cherish it so much. Because it wasn't just me. My family, my friends, everyone sacrificed so much for me to have this opportunity. We're just so blessed.
You were the underdog. You were the underdog. Yeah. You were a huge underdog. We had no money for marketing or any of the stuff. So we were like, okay, then it's got to be us. Like we can't, we're going to have to do it the old school way.
I love it. Well, he's such a wallflower, so I don't even know how you guys got him to come out of his shell. So,
I'm real shy.
And we'll need some more Fi TV stories later from your Columbus annex, but for now. So look, let's see. You get elected, and your peers choose you to become a future Speaker of the House. So when we think about that, Danny, and you look at the collective life history from being from New York, Columbus, your childhood, your parents, your family, your friends, your community, what kind of lens or what are your guiding principles for when you ascend to become the Speaker of the House?
I think the role of an elected official is fairly simple, actually, Brad. I think our role is to help our communities when we're needed, but when we're not needed, to get out of the way.
Right.
That's why companies like Josh, small businesses, are able to grow. Because, man, if government gets out of the way and lets them flourish and lets them do their own thing, less regulations, more freedom, just let capitalism grow. Right. That's my role. That's what I kind of see. When I sit down at my chair on the chamber, I'm saying, how am I helping businesses grow without being an obstacle that's in their way, without being a hurdle? And we've been able to do that. I've been able to serve under great speakers. I was under Speaker Corcoran, Speaker Oliva, Speaker Sprouse, who's a dear friend, and then next will be Speaker Renner. And I'm just so excited to see the trajectory of the House. I mean, we passed good policy that is business friendly, family friendly, and really has the mindset of making sure that Florida is always first. So I'm excited to where we're going, man. And this is a huge opportunity as well. As you said, I was so lucky that my colleagues chose me, and I'm blessed to have some of the best colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, I had the good pleasure of meeting a lot of your classmates, and you do have a great class. But I think it's a real testament to you, Danny, because when you think about being a selfless leader, and while you're fun and everyone knows like you're not shy from anything, I think selfless, at least from our experience at Fi TV and Florida Internet Television working with you, seems to be that. I mean, how do you plan to empower your classmates who will then be your kind of co-leaders, if you will?
Well, I've always had the message of making sure that my colleagues always know Although I will have the unique opportunity to be the speaker, my colleagues are equals, man. All of our voices are the same, and I make sure that they have an input just as much as I do. And I think, in tough times, which are more often than not in politics, I think, you make sure that you lead from the front, but when possible, you make sure that your colleagues get to get the credit when it's a little bit easier for them to be in the front. Make sure that they get the praises for all the hard work that they do. And that mindset has just really worked with my colleagues. I mean, they work so hard. They care so much about their communities. And I want everyone to know how hard these elected officials work for them, whether they're from Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, Pensacola, here in Miami. This is such a body of individuals that cares about their community. And I'm excited, Brad, for what's to come, honestly. I really am. I wish people could get an insight on the chamber a little bit more, because your elected officials really care. What you see on the media sometimes isn't a true transformation of what you see in Tallahassee. Tallahassee cares about the state of Florida. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah. Well, and it really is the state of Florida, and all the elected officials, they happen to convene in Tallahassee, but it really is the spirit of Florida, which is free markets. All right, well, I'm going to give you a final word, but a final word that somebody should know about the man behind the office. What's the one word that comes to mind when you think about Danny?
Danny, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. That's what I would say right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Josh. All right, Danny, final words. What do you want to convey to the folks that are getting to know you a little better? What do you want to tell the state of Florida?
I want them to know you're the man, Brad, because this was awesome. This was such a cool experience. Thank you so much for this. I wanted everyone to see what District 116 looks like, but if I can leave the viewers with any short message, it would just for them to know that the people that represent you, the people that you have voted into office, don't take their job lightly.
Yeah.
Every single person. I can speak on behalf of 120 people, including myself, Republicans and Democrats, and state that serving is one of the greatest honors any of us will ever have. We don't take it lightly, and we work hard. Yeah. We work so hard in Tallahassee, and I wish people would see that more. But my message is just have faith in the process. Your best interest is always at heart.
Yeah. Well, Danny, thanks. I think you're one of the best examples of you vote on Election Day, but you let people vote every time they call you, they contact your office and tell you what they need, out of Tallahassee, and you guys have a two-way line of communication, which is awesome. Thanks,
You're
bud.
the man.
Appreciate it.
On behalf of Phi TV, we want to thank Speaker Designate Danny Perez for spending time with us in House District 116, and we're grateful for your service to the state of Florida. Danny is much more than just a political figure. He's a community leader, he's a lawyer, and most importantly, he is a family man. That's all the time we have for this episode. On behalf of the over 150,000 people across Florida who work every day to keep your internet and your television connected, we thank you for tuning in. Phi TV is sponsored by Florida Internet and Television.